Hey guys, welcome to 365 vlog day 45. And y'all excuse my hair, but we are like wind storm crazy. This wind is freaking nuts and it's chilly. Here, I'll insert some footage for you. Check this out. This is crazy, y'all. Keeping an eye on Bo. Who is looking for the cat? Is that just crazy or what? Anyway, just got done eating lunch. Went out to lunch with somebody. They bought. But, yeah. Had some Mexican food. Had a enchilada grande and some beans and rice and a pineapple quesadilla. Well, guys, 4:05. As you can see, wind is still crazy. Go this way, so it's blowing behind me anyway. But, yeah, it's crazy nuts. It's supposed to be letting off. It's slacking off soon, so. Anyway, we're about to head home. It's been a long day. It's been not a bad day, just a long day, so. We're about to head home, and I'll holler at y'all when we get there. This is a pattern. We throw the stick around for a while, then we chew it in pieces. It's a pattern. Fortunately, I have lots of sticks. Get it, Sam. Can you get it? Get it. Look at me, say hi. Say hi, everybody. Let me see if I can get his stick, y'all. Jeez. He said, nope. Hey guys, welcome back. So, I told y'all the other day on my trip home that I would look up the Metal Museum for you, and I'm just getting a chance to do that. And it's really interesting, so y'all bear with me, I'll read it to you. This is off of Wikipedia, but the history of this place is just crazy. I mean, like, crazy, y'all. I'm trying to get you stable so you don't fall. So, the Metal Museum is located on 3.2 acre site overlooking the Mississippi, just south of downtown Memphis. The property, which includes 3 historic buildings, had been part of a public health service hospital. After the hospital closed in the mid-1960s, it was deeded to the city of Memphis through the Heritage and Conservation Act. As a non-profit organization, the Metal Museum met the usage requirements and a lease was obtained in July of 1976. 2 years later, renovation of 2 buildings began, and the Metal Museum opened to the public on February 5th, 1979. Since that time, over $2.5 million have gone in developing the property, including construction of the blacksmith shop, the Lawler Foundry, and the repairs and restoration lab, the renovation of the library, and the installation of a gazebo. This figure does not include countless hours of volunteer labor and contributed goods and services. To take you back, for nearly 30 years, the Metal Museum was led by a blacksmith and artist, who by default was also the administrator, curator, mechanic, plumber, and reluctant fundraiser. James Wallish's leadership, the 3 ramshackle buildings on the site have become a residence, housing artists, a museum, and a library. The success of the Metal Museum is in large part to his perseverance and the community of artists and patrons that he gathered around him. At the end of 2007, after completing the renovation of the 3rd and final building, he retired. The Metal Museum is located on the western half of a former United States Marine hospital. The history of the hospital dates back to July 16, 1798, when President John Adams established the Marine Hospital Service. It was designed to care for sick and disabled seamen. It was the predecessor It was the precursor to the U.S. public health system. The first Marine hospital built to serve this region was located in Napoleon, Arkansas, but was washed away in the 1870s when the Mississippi River changed its course. The current site was selected in 1881, and at that time this area was known as Fort Pickering. It was a separate town, 18 years older than Memphis, and at that time larger. The hospital opened in 1884, consisted of 6 buildings: the surgeon's house, a stable, the executive building, 2 wards, and the nurses' building. The facility was originally used to treat Civil War soldiers and to conduct scientific research in the hopes of finding a cure for yellow fever. Only 2 of the original buildings survive today. The nurses' building, which is located on the east side of the 1930s hospital building, and the executive building, which is the white building that houses the museum's library and permanent collection. Both are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. During the 1930s, several New Works Progress Administration buildings were added to the site. To make room for the new building, the wards and stables were demolished, and the still existing executive and nurses buildings, both of which faced the street, were moved 300 feet to their current location on wagons pulled by mules. Fort Pickering is now known as Residential Subdivision French Fort, which has been here since the 1960s. The museum has over 3,000 items in its permanent collection and also hosts traveling exhibitions. There is also a working smithy and foundry on site. In addition to displaying metalwork inside the museum, they also offer hands-on classes in the museum workshops. Every fall, they hold a Repair Days weekend where volunteer blacksmiths and metalsmiths from across the country will repair virtually any sort of metal object while the public watches. Estimates for the repairs are always free, and the actual prices for the repairs are generally low as it's a popular fundraising event. All proceeds from these repairs benefit the museum. That's really cool. So there's parts of this, the 2 buildings on here, date back to the 1700s. It's crazy. And to see these buildings, they're just phenomenal. The 2 that are still in use, what was the nurses, excuse me. I know what I'm talking about. The executive building and I couldn't remember the executive. The nurses building and then the executive building. I remember the nurses, I couldn't think of these. Those 2 buildings are, as you're facing it, like when I was on the drive and you come around the corner and you go to the right, they're the first 2 buildings that are right there when you come in. And they're beautifully done. And the other buildings on the site, there is a lot of disrepair. There's talk about fixing them and renovating them, but funding for that hasn't been provided. But they are still there, and it's incredible to watch. And there is still one section that houses part of the... That's what it's called, all right. I know this word. The Army Reserves. Excuse me. Part of it houses the Army Reserves office in Memphis. It's an incredible site. And I think maybe I should go take a tour. What do y'all think? They do offer tours. And there are, like I said, classes in there that they teach metalworks, and I think it'd be an awesome place to go in. They also have a really large, huge tent, and when the weather's nice, they erect this big, huge tent right on the bank of the river, and they hold events there. So you can hold your parties there, you can hold a wedding there. There are a lot of weddings that get held here, from what I understand. But can you imagine at nighttime with the river lit up with all the lights? It's got to be gorgeous. But anyway, that's some history on that I thought was really interesting. And y'all know me, I love my history. I just do. So I thought I'd share that with y'all. And now on that note, I need to get my button gear and get this published up, get it up for you. Get my button gear. It's been a long day. You know, I'm a week away from infusion, which means I get tired easy. So it just kind of is what it is. You just got to deal. But what y'all think about all that wind? Was that not crazy? It's totally crazy. I mean, I went to get out of the truck when we went to lunch, and I seriously had to fight the door to get out of the truck. And at one point, it slammed back onto my ankle, and I was like, ow! But it's like, it was crazy. Anyway, I hope you guys have had a wonderful Valentine's. I hope it's been full of love, full of happiness, full of smiles. And from me to you, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I love y'all. Have a great night, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.